So one thing is like you can't appease and please everyone. So we almost want to put problems into buckets through ICP. So whether you're a breathwork coach, whether you're running an agency, we still got to like speak to the actual specific problems that they have. So if you look at the problems that you help with, they help leave with, what are the primary problems?
So usually it's some sort of, it's usually stress or anxiety, but they don't necessarily know it is. So they might say like,
Okay.
I, in meetings, I freeze. I'm snapping at my children. I'm
Yeah.
not sleeping well. I'm not loving my life.
Yeah. For
I'm
sure.
struggling with fitness or XYZ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
So look, I say the exact same thing from a business context. So I always say that like what people think the problem isn't
Yeah.
actually the problem. There's an underlying
Yeah.
issue. So I'll give you like an adjacent example. Most people will come to us and like I have an issue with content, right? Like my content's
Yeah.
not working. But that actually means they have an offer problem. And we go back and we fix the root cause. So when you're speaking to your prospect, you want them to come to you with, hey, like tell me what's going on. I have issues in my relationship. Okay, tick. It's affecting me in work in a well context. Tick. I don't have issues with stress. That's not the core underlying issue. They're speaking to the symptoms. Okay, so we want to gather all of those symptoms. So that's a symptomatic problem, and that's
Yeah.
It's being manifested in an external event. You'll always see this, right, with your clients. It's like, hey, my relationship's in tatters. My business is all over the place. I'm overweight. I'm overeating. I'm overindulging. That's a core issue that you can solve. Okay. Now, the first thing is understanding like what are those like core symptoms. So like when they bring them up, we then can prioritize them. So what's the core issue or core benefit at the same time that you alleviate? And then what's all this series of sub benefits? Okay. So if their core issue is, let's just say like in their workplace, they're doing XYZ, they're saying XYZ. There's a bunch of sub effects as well, which is impacting relationships, family, kids. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
why that's important is because with your offer and with everyone's offer, you want to find the intersection, Jenny, between them. So if you're helping people alleviate stress through breathwork facilitation, mindset coaching, personal development, that's really in this bracket here. And we want to find like, okay, where else is it showing up? It's showing up in my relationships. Okay, here, perfect. So now we know that we're merging health and relationships. But in the same vein, if they're saying, well, it's actually affecting me in work and it's straining my relationships in work, we're leaning into this section here. And it's your job from the positioning perspective to showcase here. It's all interconnected, which is why every single health offer is a wealth offer, 100%. Because
yeah, I think like with the example you gave, where it's I can't remember what it was now because I've written over the top, but like we help business owners, whatever, in so many months get this. That's the bit I'm kind of struggling with how to narrow it down because it's, do you know what I mean? Like there's all these. I understand that it hits all of these areas, and they will when they're on a call. But to get them onto the call, it at the moment just seems like, as you would say, like the a wellness pill or
vitamin,
like a nice to have, rather than a.
So
and then the issues that people having are so they feel are so different. Like my hair's falling out, I've got these stomach issues, I'm not sleeping. That to put it all into one without saying stress and anxiety.
But see, they're not problems; they're symptoms. So that's where you as the expert. So you gathered this feedback on the call. So when they go through the problem and pain section, then we start to gather out where the problems are. So we're seeing like overarching problems or symptoms, and it's your job in DM or in calls to collapse that. So your hair's falling out, you're snappy, you do have a bad relationship with your partner. There are symptoms of a nervous system that's unregulated, a stress tolerance that's super high.
What my offer was before when I first started with you guys. And then I just found that it felt like every person under the sun was talking about nervous system, not always in the right context, and like a nervous system coach. And I was struggling a bit with that, being in that everybody was doing it kind of. And then what people were posting, I don't know. So And then I realized doing the visualization recently that I wanted to do more of like a community. I want to build a community. I want to do more group stuff than the one-to-ones.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not really sure because I don't really want to go down the nervous system coach because I feel like as well, like a lot of people were a bit, and maybe this is just my opinion from talking to people, a bit over that, and it's been overused.
Okay, well, this is the thing, right? Is that in your world, in your feed, in what you do, you see a lot of that. Okay, like I see a lot of guys in the business niche, but it's like to the average person who's working in KPMG in London and is super fucking stressed, they're not seeing that. And even if they are seeing that, they never actually fucking solve their problem. And that's why I wanted to explain this. So excuse my writing, right? But these people right now, they're problem unaware. Okay? So they're going about their life, they're working their 9 to 5. So this goes down for everybody, right? If you guys are running agencies, the problem that you solve, people are largely problem unaware. So we got a scenario here. Do we want to go educate people on becoming problem? Do we want to go educate people who are problem unaware on a call? Probably not. We want to target people who are problem aware. Our marketing does this. Our sales process does this. Because they're like, fuck, like my life actually is a little bit screwed up for these reasons. Now, at this point, they're solution unaware. They don't know that they can work with you, that there is a solution in the market for this. Then through the sales process, we educate them, and then they become solution aware. So now they're problem aware. They know that their life is like whatever, and then you have the solution. Now, it doesn't have to be nervous system regulation. It can be, as you said, it can be more of like it can be literally anything. But they're aware of this problem that you're solving. Okay. The last point and the most important point is then we get them into this category of solution finding, and like this is the buy zone. So everything that happens up here, just for context on your calls, is moving people up there. And then simultaneously, if you're on a call with someone and they're telling you, you know, I have this issue in my relationship and this issue with business. Yeah, it's not the stress thing. Don't worry about that. It's your job as a business owner to be like, hey, I've worked with so much people doing this. I know that it's basically an intersection of all these things. And that's me giving you consulting advice, is that you may think that that's wrong, but like respectfully, that's the reason why you're in the position that you're in. You know, and I think people, like a lot of you guys will be like, oh, but like my prospect said that isn't a problem. It's like, that's the fucking reason why they're broke. That's the reason why they're overweight. That's the reason why they're super stressed. It's because they don't think that it's a problem. I would argue that the people in McDonald's consider themselves to be somewhat healthy. I genuinely think that's true. Like, I genuinely believe that they're like, oh, it is what it is. Whereas if I touch a fucking, dried fruit, I'm like sick for a week because of my stomach, right? It's like, there's in tune and there's being completely out of tune of the reality. And if you're listening to this now and you guys have a business offer, it's the exact same shit. If you're working with a local business and they don't know how to get leads or whatever, it's the exact same approach. Their head's in the sand. And I think this is where on calls, Jenny, as well, you can dial this up a small bit and allow your positioning to find the right people that come into this bracket and be like, okay, who am I attracting? Like, am I attracting people that are completely problem unaware, or are they problem aware as well? So next steps on this, right, is let's just break down the 3 or 4 big problems that you solve, okay? And then in your marketing, that's what we want to lean into. So we lean into like 1 to 3 big problems that you solve, like one of them. So, and then it's through the vessel of breath work and so on. But you have to speak to the problem, less to the mechanism. If I started telling people like, you got to build an ecosystem, they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? But if I'm like, hey, here's how you solve your leads issue, it's through this mechanism, they're like, oh, got it. So we speak to the problem. And then quite literally, when you're taking people into your funnel, they'll find themselves in one of 3 categories.
Yeah.
Generally. And then we can either double down with that with content, or we can either double down with that in the sales process. This is the reason why I don't really create content about how to create an offer anymore, because people don't think that that's their problem. But lo and behold, the second we're on a call, their offers, it's in tatters.